I'm here with you there too, Evan.
And welcome to the Atlanta Motor Speedway for LSRTV's coverage of the Cora Championship Online Racing Association Sunday Money Series. Race number 2 in the Season 4 campaign brings us tonight again to the Atlanta Motor Speedway. My name is Evan Pasoko. I'm going to be joined up in the broadcast booth with Alan Larson from Cora tonight. And Alan, before we get going, race number 2, it's time to go to the first 1.5-mile racetrack, and for those that didn't tune in last week, there's been a little bit of changes in the Cora format for this season.
Yeah, there has. We're doing things just a little bit different instead of mixing things up as much as we did before with all the, with all the different tracks every different week and everything. We're sticking with one vehicle for a number of races. We're taking the trucks to 4 races, then the Gen 6 to 4 races, or actually no, then the Impala Class B to 4 races, then the Gen 6 to 4 races, and then the IndyCar to 4 races. So, yeah, it's a little bit different format, but I think it'll be a more popular format than last season.
Definitely, and obviously maybe this could be the change that gives somebody an opportunity to try to knock Dale Smalley off of that championship. He is the 3-time defending champion here at Cora. Last week, we were at none other than Talladega Super Speedway with the Dale Smalley Drywall 101 in the trucks, and it was Ross Cadeau taking home the victory to start off his season. Michael Churchma finished in the 2nd position. Everett Lane finished in 3rd. George Bark coming home in 4th. Mark McFadden in 5th. Gary Bauer coming home with a 6th place finish. Mark Maffitt in 7th. 8th place belonging to Garrett Atwell. David Wenk in 9th, and rounding up the top 10 is Daniel Miller. Looking forward to tonight's race at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. This track is a quad oval at 1.54 miles in length, 24 degrees of banking in the corners, and 5 degrees on the straightaways as the drivers are putting down their qualifying times. Right now, it's Gary Bauer on the provisional pole in his number 27 machine. So as the drivers go through this, and Alan, we start to build up anticipation to tonight's race. We kicked off the season at a super speedway. Now, that's not normally the norm. This is arguably the most popular track of the iRacing service, and the most common one when it comes to this NASCAR-style racing is the 1.5. So how important do you think is getting this first race at a 1.5, kind of honing in and getting a good solid finish here moving forward in the season? Could this really help you out with momentum-wise going on into the next races?
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely important for momentum. It's important for the drivers to get a good start on the season. And I think with a couple of 1.5-mile tracks here in the middle of the trucks, and then going back to a super speedway as well, I think all the drivers will be, kind of looking forward to it. So I think the format we got this season, I think will work a lot better, because last season you never know what you were going to be doing. So yeah, I definitely think it's definitely important.
And definitely, we're going to go down trackside for opening ceremonies.
Tonight's Cora Sunday Money Series race is being brought to you by Kohl's Wheelboard Truck Center, Redwood Falls, Minnesota. Berkey Painting and Sandblasting, Redwood Falls, Minnesota. Hurley Property Maintenance, Kingsford, Ontario. Dale Smalley Drywall, the finish is what counts, Sophia, North Carolina. Small Town Computers, serving Midwestern Michigan. SH&D Trucking, Elburn, Illinois. Collision Works Auto Body and Collision Works Auto Body Express, making friends by accident, Memphis, Tennessee. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, please rise, and gentlemen, remove your caps as the Reverend Rusty Dent will deliver our invocation.
Dear Lord, let us pray. We want to thank you, Lord, for all we have. Dear Lord, we ask you that you protect those men and women who serve us both here and abroad. And oh Lord, we give thanks to those who have served us and have given that ultimate sacrifice that we may enjoy the liberties that we have today. And oh Lord, we ask you that you give these drivers the skill and the good internet connection so that we may be given a race like no other. Lord, we ask you that our racing give us the green-white checkers that we so deserve, and that we may enjoy an exciting race to the finish we all want to see. Lord, may you heighten the senses and protect these drivers so that they can give us a 3-wide door-banging race to the checker flag tonight. And can we all say amen? And I'll say amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing as we proudly introduce Jaden Berkey to sing our national anthem.
Glorious and free, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And now at this time, the 5 sons of our CEO, James Brown, Alex, Andrew, Nick, Cody, and Ethan will deliver the 4 most famous words in all of automotive racing. Good luck, drivers. To all those watching, it's time to sit back, relax, and strap it down. Let's go Sunday money racing, Cora style.
The grid is set for the SH&D Trucking 125 here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, and it's time to run you down through the field. On the pole is the number 27 machine of Gary Bauer with a time of 29.972. Outside row number 1 is Michael Vandersall in the 83. Starting third, the 88 of Michael Churchma. Travis Brown in the 33 is going to start fourth, and inside row 3, rounding out the top 5, is Nathan Sedlak in the 35.
Yeah, number 6 position, we got Ross Cato, and then George Bark in the number 7 position. David Wink in the number 8 position. James Brown, our president there, is sitting in 9th position, and Galen Gidman rounding out the top 10.
Jay Anderson in the number 18 machine starting 11th. 12th, the Ford of Garrett Atwell. Michael Johnson in the 78 starting 13th. 14th is Colton Berkey in the 81 in 15th position. The 62 of Chuck Thompson.
Yeah, then we got Don Stevenson starting in the 16th position, Jeremy Crandall in 17th, Ben Manning in 18th, 19th is Jacob Nye, and 20th position is John Pansula.
Gary Cleaver in the 45 starting 21st, 22nd, 15th of Dominique Dieball. Lance Johnson in the 50 starting 23rd, 24th. The 06 of Daniel Miller and Dylan Ackart in the 29, 25th. 26th on back is the number 68 of Philip Gary. Everett Lane in the 1 starting in 27th. Gordon Berkey in the 17th is going to start 28th. 29th, the 79 of Joel Wood. Mark McFadden in the 90 is starting 30th. 31st, Bradley Cooper. Salacardi in the 39 starting 32nd position. 33rd going to belong to Edward Smith. Daniel Lingerfelt in the 53 is starting 34th. 35th position belonging to the 61 of Robert O'Neill. And Marcus Babb in the 26 machine is starting in 36th position, however not on the racetrack at the moment. So 35 trucks set to take the green flag here. The only truck to not take time is the 61 of Robert O'Neill in the 35th position. Front row is going to be Gary Bauer and Michael Vandersall up front. So a lot of fast drivers up front, but also some talent back there in the middle and the back of the pack. So with 125 laps to go on the board here at Atlanta Motor Speedway with these trucks at your 1.5 mile racetrack, it's going to be a good one to see how this turns out. Pace car lights are off and down to the safety of pit lane. The field is in the hands of the 27 machine of Gary Bauer. The green flag flies, he takes off, and the race is underway as he pulls away for that number 1 spot. So it's going to be a side-by-side battle for second. As you take a look, the 83 machine of Michael Vandersall is back behind these guys. The 88 of Churchma going to move on into second place. Travis Brown back in the pack tries to slide back and get single file and sort this thing out. So battle's not done, however, for the 3rd spot as we're side by side with, I do believe that is, if I can get my scoring updated up here, the 83 machine of Vandersall was on the inside, and they're all going to get single filed out this time by the front stretch. Moving in through turns number 1 and 2, the top about 7 positions, all single file. A little bit of a battle brewing back around 10th. You have the 00 machine of James Brown working, and it's looking to make a pass maybe on the 30 of Ross Cato actually. He's going to drop down and block that position through 3 and 4 and coming out off the corner. So Brown is going to have to stay behind him, but now he's under attack. The 20 of David Wink took a look to the inside there throughout the tri-oval, but in the turn number 1, the door is going to get shut by James Brown. So Brown is going to hang on to that 9th position. However, the 20's got the run again, coming up off of 2. That's David Wink going to the inside in 3 and 4. Can't quite get there just in time.
Yeah, David Wink in the Storm Motorsports truck. He's going to be one of the dark horses to look at for this race too. He's been running strong all week. Had a really good qualifying run on Saturday night, and you know, something we're doing a little different this week, and I wanted to mention it here before we went green, but didn't get a chance to. We're allowing the winners of all the qualifiers to start in the top 3 positions when we throw the green flag, and that gives them a little bit of incentive to try and win them qualifying races.
Definitely. So just more, you know, little tweaks to improve the competition.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like this season, we're also doing a couple of different things with the championships. We've got 6 different championships all rolled in one. Each vehicle will have its own champion. The trucks will have their champion, the Gen 6 will have their champion, the Class B, the IndyCar, and so on. And then we also, for the qualifying series, is also going to have a champion, and we've got some pretty good prizes planned for the champion in the qualifying series as well. So and then there's going to be an overall champion, of course. And, you know, just with all the 6 champions rolled up all into one, it makes things really, really exciting. And I think it's what we do a little bit different than anybody else out here.
And definitely for sure going to keep things fresh and exciting with the Cora Championship Online Racing Association Sunday money. A lot of 2 wide back around the 10th position. It's the 20 of David Wink has gotten to the inside of James Brown. He's got around him a little bit of a checkup now in the middle of the corner. The 4 is way up on the top side. That is Garrett Atwell. So these guys are going to try to sort things out, but about 2 wide, 3 rows deep as they start to figure it out. But now we're going to go side by side up front. Michael Churchma has gotten to the inside of Gary Bauer in his 88 machine, so the 27 of Bauer, who has led every lap to this point, going to drop back to second, but maybe farther because the 35 of Nathan Sedlak is now on his inside, working through 3 and 4, and the 94 of Galen Gidman in tow there as well on the bottom. This time by the stripe, Bauer is going to be shown in position number 3, almost looking at a 3 wide there in the 1. The 94 of Gidman is going to wait and be patient now. The 35 of Sedlak going to clear Gary Bauer, and Bauer's going to slide back in line 4th. Going to get right up on the back bumper of Galen Gidman, maybe look for a crossover. Going into 3, he takes a look, does not quite have the gap, and he can't get that done, didn't have the opening, and is going to have to remain single file. So Michael Churchma with a charge to the front after qualifying in the number 3 spot, pretty much blew by Gary Bauer. And Alan, you take a look at the racetrack and how the trucks are acting right now. It seems like that inside lane, if you can get down there, that's the preferred lane to make the pass on.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's the preferred lane, but it is the preferred lane, so everybody's there. So if you're going to want to make a move, you're going to want to get your truck to handle on that outside line.
And definitely, for sure, that could be one of the key facts. And also, don't be surprised if you see these guys going through this quad oval on the front straightaway. So a small technicality in difference from a tri-oval, and that is it has 2 distinct kinks in it, and it's not as extreme as the one at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, but the way these trucks take the turn as opposed to a big sweeping tri-oval, even if you're running that inside lane, if you're by yourself, you might just run the middle of that area of the racetrack. If a guy's behind you, that's his opportunity, or down the back straightaway where he can peek that nose to the inside lane and then try to make something happen. And that's also when you can see contact. You know, the driver on the inside thinks he's got the lane, the guy up top trying to defend maybe doesn't, and that's really the most typical issue and incidents that you see on the racetrack is guys trying to go, and pretty much 2 guys going for 1 spot on the racetrack. And you mentioned that's the inside lane, so that's where they're all going to be, and that's something to keep an eye on as the race progresses. Now side by side for second, the 94 of Galen Gidman on the inside of Sedlak. He's going to make that pass in 3 and 4.
Yeah, moving back in the field a little bit, we got Jeremy Crandall in the 92 truck making a pass to the inside of the 18. He nuzzled his way down in there, and he's got the line. So a couple of drivers moving forward, a couple of drivers moving back.
Jacob Nye has got to run right behind those guys, and he's going to get right up on the back bumper of Crandall down the back straightaway. So the 18 of Jay Anderson is on the outside, and he's trying to hold off a lane of about 4 trucks that are on that inside lane right now. So he wants to try to find a spot in line. He's doing good, hanging tough at the top right now, and now checkup going and trouble in front of them. Big wreck now. The 18 machine is around. The caution flag is going to fly, and something happened in front of that group of cars that we were watching, and then he piled it in there in turn 2. Caution's out. Looks like the 42, yeah, George Bark might have had some problems all by himself, or it's looking like George Bark was running inside of the top 5 in his number 42 machine, qualified 7th, and was running right behind the 27 machine of Gary Bauer, and he got the left side tires in the grass, and I don't think was just able to keep control of that thing, and in that second kink there in the quad oval, got the left side tires in the grass again, kicked that truck sideways, and tried to hang on to it, overcorrected, came up the racetrack, locked it up, avoided, and then it was the 18 machine that was the truck that had nowhere to go. And tough break for Jay Anderson. Anderson was on the top lane, so he was trapped in that situation. I mean, the 82 got by below them because he was on the bottom. The 81 got collected in that as well. So a strange first incident at the Atlanta Motor Speedway is going to put us into our first caution of the evening, as all the cars on the lead lap going to hit the pit lane.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's maybe strange, but not unusual. These trucks here, man, they're a handful. They get loose real easy. And a couple of them guys were just a victim of circumstance, because George Byerk, once he lost it, he was just along for the ride.
And definitely for sure, he is now being scored in the 28th position in his number 42, and still a long way to go in this race to get 125 laps is the distance in this race. Everybody on the pit lane on lap number 15 as the trucks make their stops and work their way out the pit lane. Michael Churchma is going to come off the pit lane in second place. Everett Lane up in front of him, and got the 25 machine of Bradley Cooper. So right now, Dominique Dieball is being scored as your race leader in the number 15 machine. Did not pit. He was sitting 33rd. He's now sitting P1. Chuck Thompson, currently being shown P2, was 32nd. So if these guys plan to stay out, they're going to have to be holding up some fast trucks behind them. And this track's got a lot of room. Not a lot. It's got a fair amount of room on it. But it could be interesting if these guys decide not to come down the pit lane, stay out there, throw that strategy into this a little bit early, and see if they can hold off those guys behind them that will now evidently have faster cars because of the tires and fuel that they packed on. And this time by, they're not even going to look down to the pit lane. So it looks like those guys are going to plan on staying up front there in that front row.
Yeah, definitely pit strategy is going to come into play here, no doubt about it. But I don't know if that is a decision I would have made or not, because you never know. I want 4 fresh feel goods, or like JD would put it, 4 new shoes and a bucket of oats.
Definitely. And this early on in the race, you look down to the end of the race, maybe if you're sitting back there and in the closing laps, and maybe you're looking at a scenario where cautions breed cautions, and you want to be able to protect the position, and you think maybe you can go from 20th to 5th. You might lose some spots, but you play the yellow flag card. You hope they fall in your favor. Early on in the race, you can argue they had to do something, because you got to take a look at where they're running right now and the fact of where they qualified. So they have made a large improvement in their running position, and we haven't really run a lot of laps. We ran about 13 of those under the green flag before this initial caution flag flew. So maybe they can benefit from this if we have a long green flag run, and the guys with the fresh tires, their tires start to balance out, and maybe they can get in the top 15. But I don't really see them being able to hang on for now. But stranger things have happened. They just got to keep an eye on those guys back behind them. You got Galen Gidman, Michael Churchman, Nathan Sedlak, Gary Bauer, all of those guys up there as well. As take a look, only truck 1 lap down, or actually 2 laps down at this point in the going. Jay Anderson in the 18, who took the brunt of that impact. Again, we saw when George Bark's machine came up in turn 1, lots of trucks were able to get down to that apron, but he was in a side-by-side battle, which we were following, so he really got trapped up there. If he tried to turn that thing left and get down to the bottom to try to avoid the incident, he would have just taken out another truck. So kind of got put in a box there where there was no right decision that he could make. So 94 of Galen Gidman's going to go up to the front lane, as those 2 cars were actually involved in that incident, so they're going to get waved around. So it makes a little bit more sense, Alan, that they stayed out to get the wave around as opposed to being P1. Yeah, definitely. That way they get their lap back. Definitely, for sure. So the lights are off on the Ford First Racing Mustang pace car, so now the front of the pack looks a lot more familiar than it did before. Galen Gidman into 94 is going to be on the number 1 spot. He qualified 10th, so maybe a 2-tire strategy or a blistering pit stop by him and his Fast Forward Racing crew. He's going to be P1. The 88 of Churchma is going to be in second. The 88 truck has been fast after starting third. We saw him drive his way up to the number 1 spot, so we're going to see how this restart shakes out as the lights are off at the Ford First Racing Mustang pace car. Down to the safety of the pit lane, the 94 of Galen Gidman waits. He's on the loud pedal. The green flag back out here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. The 88 of Churchma with a solid start. He's going to hang with them and almost pulled in behind him now in turn 1. Going to try to stay on the top lane, see what he can do with it. The 94 just so strong on the bottom, so Churchma going to pull in single file for P2 and maybe get a little bit of a run off the corner. Takes a look. He's on the right rear of Gidman up front, letting him know that he's there in the 3. Back through the pack, everybody's still trying to get sorted out to and through wide. Looking like a side-by-side battle is brewing around 5th. You take a look at the 30 of Ross Cato. He is now in 4th position as he has gotten around the 27 of Gary Bauer. So Cato in the 30 is on a back bumper of the 35 of Nathan Sedlak, and Nathan Sedlak is watching these guys go at it for the lead. And I mentioned that Churchman had such a strong truck, and he is on the back bumper and has been on the back bumper of Gidman in his number 94, sitting P1 since the drop of the green flag about 2 laps ago, and we came back from that first caution flag. However, that 30 machine of Cato is moving back forward. He is now up to 30s around Sedlak, and he's got his eyesight now on P1 and 2. More side-by-side battle with the 35 machine. Nathan Sedlak having to try to hold off the 27 of Gary Bauer now. Gary Bauer on the inside with the 20 machine of David Wink. David Wink is in tow on that inside lane, and then the 83 of Michael Vandersal also trying to get around that 35. So Nathan Sedlak going to go from the top 3 and possibly slide all the way back to, he's being shown in 6th, and he's going to find a spot in front of the 83 of Michael Vandersal to now pull in and get back to single file. So he's going to lose a lot of spots, and it's really proven that the inside lane is the way to go. The 88 of Michael Churchma, though, is so much faster than Cato in the 30 machine. Actually, never mind, Cato on the inside, we've seen him work his way up through Ross Cato in the 30. He's gone from about 5th, and now he's side by side for the lead position as Churchma had got around the 94 rather, of Galen Gidman. So Churchma got around the 94. That opened up the door for Cato. Cato going to slide up off the corner, get in front of Churchma. Churchma going to give him a bump going in the 3s. So that 30 truck is looking mighty fast right now, Alan.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. Another truck that's looking pretty fast back here is Jeremy Crandall. He's making a move on the inside of the 4 truck of Garrett Atwell right now, and he's right on the bumper of the Michael Johnson. He's always been real fast too. So there's quite the battle heating up back here. They all want to get to the front.
Yeah, the 4 machine is up above him. That's Garrett Atwell, and then you have the 92 of Jeremy Crandall on the inside lane down the back straight with the 4 going to try to clear the 92, and he's going to get it in turn number 3. So Atwell going to be able to defend the 12th position and hang on to that spot right now as everybody in front of him is single file at this point. The 88 though of Churchma, just like he did to Galen Gidman, is riding the back bumper of Ross Cato in the 30 machine, so trying to use that draft, a little bit of it, down the back straightaway. You see he gets right up to the bumper, however he's not sticking the nose out quite yet to make that pass, so I think he's just trying to maybe force an error. The 30's going to slide up wide out of turn number 4. That could have been it. The 88 of Churchma going to go to the inside, side by side up front. It's going to be the lead to the 30 machine at the stripe, but now Churchma in the 88 truck with the preferred lane is going to work the inside through 1 and 2, and 30 can't hang on to it, can't maintain the speed up top, so Michael Churchma going to go back to P1. The 94 of Gidman is now going around on the inside of that 30 machine, so Ross Cato going to go from P1 all the way back to P4. He's continuing to slide back as the 35 of Sedlak gets around him as well. The 83 of Michael Vandersal is going to get there as well, so that really proves right there that you need to be on the inside lane because our race leader has just dropped out of the top 5 within about 2 miles.
Yeah, no doubt. We got the 00 of James Brown trying to put the moves on the.
The 00 of James Brown, you see him in P17 right now. He is trying to hang on to his position. However, the 81 machine of Colton Berkey is going to get around him as well. And actually, Berkey's going to get the inside spot on the 06 of Daniel Miller in front of these guys. Miller doing a good job on the top lane through 1 and coming out of turn 2, but there you see the 81 machine with the run. So Colton Berkey with the 00 of James Brown in tow are trying to find their way around the 06, and the 06 comes down and shuts the door. The 81 with a run through the corner and off of 4, gets right up to the back bumper, takes a look to the outside, and not quite yet. So that is a fast 81 machine as well. Colton Berkey in 17th position, qualified 14th. So early in the going here, trying to make up for lost ground at this point.
Yeah, they're just 2 by 2 by 2 back here behind that battle. We got the 16 on the outside of the 39 trying to make a position. Oh, and it's 39 gets into the 16 and turns it.
Yeah, you talked about it there, and as soon as we took a look, and that 16 truck got spun, and under the second caution flag, it is going to be as trouble at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. So we'll get that up on the replay. And you mentioned they were 2x2x2 for probably 7 rows. So I don't want to say 2x2 for that long, but definitely for sure 16 is on the outside. You see the 39 truck on the inside, and 39 pushed up ever so slightly, maybe with a little bit of a run to the 92 in front of him, the 92 of Jeremy Crandall. As the replay is going up right now, you take a look at it. 39 maybe was moving up to make a move on the 92 and caught the left rear of that 16 machine, and 16 of Jacob Nye, who was having a solid race up into the outside fence, rolled back down the racetrack, and the 18 machine of Jay Anderson, once again, a victim of circumstances, and went right through the 16, so probably avoided more damage than he should have, but that 18 truck definitely got a piece of that incident for sure. So more tough breaks for Jay Anderson in the 18 machine, and I do believe he's going to take that thing behind the wall, as that is the second incident that he's really just been caught up in at this point.
Yeah, he's definitely my vote for the hard luck award of the race so far. He's had some bad luck.
And again, today's race at the Atlanta Motor Speedway is the SH&D Trucking Cora 125. And Alan, do you have any information on the sponsor of tonight's race for us?
I don't have it in front of me, but you can bet I'll have it the next time you ask me.
All right, 10-4. So under the second caution flag to this point in the race, the 88 of Churchma is up front. So we're at lap 30 of 125 laps. So we're not too far from the quarter mark of this race already. And it seems to be the story so far is the inside lane is where you want to be. And I mean, you can't really prove it much more than what happened to our race later in that 30 truck, and that's Ross Cato in 8th now. He went from 1st to 8th in 2 laps, and Michael Churchma does not have the fastest truck. He's got a rocket ship, but I think it's not the fastest at this point, and he played that perfectly. He was on the back bumper of the 30 truck, just like he was when it was Galen Gidwin in P1 at 94. And as opposed to getting the run and sticking the nose out and try to make something happen on the outside lane, he just kind of rode that back bumper, and it looked like that he forced an error out of Cato in the 30, and that truck pushed up the hill in 3 and 4. Churchman went flying on by the 88 truck. He brought the 53, the 90, the 1 all down with him. That's how we've gotten to where we are right now. Some trucks hitting the pit lane for damage repairs at this point. Not really a large number of them going down for service. So take a look right now at of all 35 trucks that started this thing, still 34 of them remaining on the lead lap. So there's there's still a solid amount of cars, or trucks you could say, left in this race at this point. The question is going to be obviously track position and what kind of pit strategy you could do to get yourself up there, and that really puts an emphasis on how important qualifying is at a race like this.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Little information on SH&D Trucking. They were out of Elburn, Illinois, and I know James Brown, our there's a couple of other we're going to try to get Alan's mic fixed, having a little bit of issues there with it cutting in and out. So again, tonight's race, the SH&D Trucking 125 with the Cora Sunday Money Series here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Again, last week the Dale Smalley Drywall 101 was won by none other than Ross Cato in the 30 machine, who is being scored 12th. Right now, he's been dipping around up front, and I know I was talking with Joe Cortez, who normally broadcasts the Cora Sunday Money and lots of other series with LSR, and it seemed like last week, getting back into the racing groove with the 2014 season, and all the broadcast that we had was people trying to make a statement against the defending champions, and
going out and winning race number 1 definitely helped for us, Kato, in the 30 machine. So if he can do it back-to-back, he's getting his season started in the right direction as we're doubled up lights are off atop the Ford First Racing Mustang pace car. So we're going to be going green this time by as we pace in the 3. So it is the 88 of Churchma up front, now with the 53 of Daniel Lingerfeld starting P2. Lingerfeld started 34th. Lights on the pace car are off. Coming out of turn number 4, the pace car is going to dive down to the safety of the pit lane. The 88 of Michael Churchma is going to leak us to the green flag. He's going to wait. There he goes. The green flag is out. He's going to blow by the 53 of Lingerfeld. Almost catches him sleeping in the number 2 spot. However, Lingerfeld's able to get down to the inside for position number 2. Side-by-side battle with the 94 of Galen Gidman. Gidman going to get around the 01 machine of John Pansula, and now to the inside of the 79 of Joel Wood is behind them. The 27 of Bauer is taking a look on the inside of the 01 machine of Pansula as well. So 2 rows side-by-side, door-to-door through 3 and 4, and it's going to be the inside lane that prevails, and a huge run by the 94 of Galen Gidman, this time by the stripe, has a huge run on the 90 of Mark McFadden, and he's going to go to the inside and get around it with ease. So look at those trucks just blow by on that inside lane here off the restart. Big group of cars now behind them. The 83 of Michael Vandersal is going to go to the inside, and they're 2 wide, about 3, 4, 5 rows deep now through 3 and 4, but the inside lane is just so strong to this point in the race as Michael Churchma continues to lead up front, so no battle there yet, but a battle we can take a look at is for 8th. The 90 of Mark McFadden is on the inside, or rather he's on the outside and has company with the 20 of David Wank. Wank was on the inside and just got around him as well. So starting on the inside on a restart looks like it's definitely going to help you, because we've seen a lot of shuffling. As now more shuffling, the 01 of John Pansula pushes up, almost got into the 79 machine of Joel Wood, and that causes a little bit of a checkup behind these guys as they try to get things sorted out. Still side by side, 2 rows deep all around this 12th position through 3 and 4, or 1 and 2 rather. 79's in the wall is a big checkup. They're going to have to scatter, try to hang on to it. 3, 4 wide. 1 truck is into the outside wall. That's the 06 machine, and the caution flag is going to fly. Daniel Miller's in it. The 39 is going to get a piece of it as well. And that all came from that battle that we were taking an eye on, and just had to check up and got sideways. 1 truck slapped that outside wall, and he came back down the racetrack, and it was everybody slamming the brakes behind him that caused it. As you take a look at the replay, and the 4 machine checks up, gets a tap from behind. He's into the wall. The 81 turns the 06. The 92 is going to get a piece of that as well. So they wreck behind the leaders, and we're going to go to our 3rd caution flag of the evening as another chain reaction wreck there down the backstretch.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Man, I hated to see this race kind of turn into something like this, but, you know, that's racing. It's Atlanta, and, you know, hopefully we can get this thing going here and have some good green flag rounds. Anyway, I think I got my mic straightened out now.
And definitely so. Under the yellow flag right now, our leader is going to stay out on the racetrack. Some trucks about 15th on back. Joel Wood is going to lead them down the pit lane. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, more Cora Sunday Money Racing on LSRTV.
Nothing like scrambling.
InsideSimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
And welcome back to the Atlanta Motor Speedway, where LSRTV is continuing coverage of the Cora Sunday Money Championship Series here. Thank you for joining us again on this evening. And up in the booth with me, we have Alan Larson with Cora, and also Carl Jones is hanging out in the third seat tonight. Carl, you got your mic on?
Yeah, how you doing tonight?
We're doing pretty good, Carl. 30 or now 40 laps into tonight's race. We've seen our fair share of cautions. I mean, what's your take so far?
Yeah, it's been a pretty good race here so far. Like I said, we had going on 3 cautions here, right? It looks like Mike Churchman pretty much has a strong hold on the field right now tonight.
Definitely the 88 truck is strong up front, and Alan, it seems like the inside lane is the way to go, and we've seen some guys go from first to 8th in about 2 laps, getting stuck on the outside. So these guys really got to try to hold their own, and you might see some blocking down the backstretch of those guys trying to protect that inside.
Yeah, most definitely. And, you know, as I alluded to earlier, you know, everybody wants that inside line. So I think the key here is to get your truck to work really good on the outside so you can make passes on the outside, because that inside line is so key.
That would definitely make your job a lot easier if you can make that pass where nobody else can. So you might see some drivers, you know, taking a dab in the water up there and messing with it and seeing what they can do on the outside lane. And maybe it'll be stronger if we get a long green flag run and the tires, you know, start to wear out. Side by side, lights off at a pace car through 3 and 4. And now out of the corner of the field is going to be in the hands of the 88 of Churchman as the pace car hits the pit lane, doubled up this time by the 88 is on the loud pedal. The green flag back out, and we are back green flag racing at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. A good start by the P2 machine, the 94 of Galen Gidwin. He is easily going to be able to pull into second place behind Churchma, single file all the way back throughout the top 5 or so. And then almost a 3-wide battle in 7th as the 1 machine of Everett Lane is going to be able to hold off those guys behind him, as you have the 90 truck up on the top lane. The 20 machine is up on the top lane, so that's McFadden and Wink on the top. The 33 is trying to make a move to the front. That's Travis Brown trying to get these guys. This is all going around about that 8th position.
Yeah, that doesn't get any easier the farther you go back. We got John Pansula in the 01 truck trying to make a move on Garrett Atwell in the 4 truck right now back here, and behind him you got the Ben Manning in the 67 truck trying to make a move, and man, it's just really tight back there.
Definitely back at this battle, about 10th position. We are side by side, 3 rows deep, and they are all bumper to bumper, so no room for error at this point. And it's going to be the 33 is the first truck to be able to get out of that, and that is Travis Brown's going to clear that truck on the outside lane, the 90 of Mark McFadden. So he's going to go single file now. So it looks like the 50 machine of Lance Johnson is trying to make a move now on the inside of McFadden through 3 and 4, so they are door to door, and you can see these trucks bouncing around from the bumps in the racing surface, and Johnson in the 50 machine is going to be able to get around McFadden, not quite clear him yet. He's going to do that here in the corner entry. So again, the top lane is just not working out for these guys at this point. The 17 of Gordon Berkey is the next one to try to get around the 90 machine. They are door to door down the back now.
Yeah, you still got Jacob Knight up back here in the 16 truck trying to make a move to the inside of the 29. And, you know, this racing is a little bit different than at Talladega. Talladega, you're right up on the bumper and, you know, having to switch every other lap for air. You don't have that problem here. You can, you know, you don't have to get right up on them all you got to do is start to get them bottom, and it gets the truck in front of you loose, and they just kind of move up out of the way if they don't have the handle on it.
And that's what we saw earlier when we saw Churchma on the back bumper of Gidman. So you mentioned that, and now take a look up front. It is Galen Gidman in the 94 has gotten around the 88 of Churchma at this point, and this time by the stripe is going to be a half of a truck length lead for the number 1 spot. So now we're going to have to see, does Churchman do what he did with the last time when Galen Gidman was up front. You talked about it there. He got right up to the back bumper, not quite on it, but he was there. You know, 94 didn't quite have everything underneath that machine and pushed up on corner exit, and that's how the 88 got the P1. He's not going to be able to get it done because the 27 now of Gary Bauer is now on the inside lane, and the 83 is going to follow in tow. So Michael Churchman needs to find a spot in line, or he might do what happened with Ross Cato earlier in the race, going to go from P1 all the way back. Again, we talked about Ross Cato in the 30. He's 11th, and he was leading this race, and it's not looking good for the 88 right now. He is trapped on the top lane.
Yeah, I'm watching this battle back here between the 67, the 39, and the 00. Man, they're just going at it every other lap, and it's really entertaining to watch. The 39's in there. They're just fighting for every inch they can get.
They're all over the track trying to find some grip and gain the upper hand on each other. This is back around the 23rd position, the 00 up on the top lane with the 39 behind him, and the inside lane is led by the 01 of John Pansula, and then the 67 machine of Ben Manning is there as well. The 25 is also in tow. That is Bradley Cooper behind them, and the 16 truck is also there as well, Jacob 9. They're starting to close in on some guys that are battling in front of them, so this is like rush hour traffic at 185 miles an hour down this front straightaway, and everybody just trying to find a spot in line and not getting into somebody. The top 7 or so, it's going to be the top 6, have broken away. The distance between 6th and 7th positions is almost 2 seconds. So we have almost like a Talladega race. You got a lead pack breaking away, and then just a big pack in the middle and back around that 20th position. Things aren't clearing up anytime soon. Still side by side, 2 rows back. So it is the 94 of Galen Gidman as your race leader. The 27 of Gary Bauer. We talked about him early on in the show because he sat on pole position. He now finds himself back up in the 2nd spot. The 83 of Michael Vandersal is in 3rd. Nathan Sedlak in 4th. And then you have the 88 of Michael Churchma in 6th now.
67 in the grass. Oh, we got a wreck. We got a wreck.
Ben Manning, big wreck down the front straightaway. They're going to spin and crash it in there, and the caution flag is going to fly. And Alan, you caught that as that started to happen. Did you see what the reason was?
Yeah, Ben Manning got into the grass a little bit. About the same thing that happened to George Bark. He just got in the grass and basically lost the handle and kind of was just along for the ride and got up into that whole pack of trucks there that we were watching.
Yeah, so it seems like, once again, as we take a look at the replay, that another incident, and it's going to be a chain reaction wreck. It looked like Ben Manning might have gotten on that white line in 3 and 4, and by the time he saves it again, same thing as we saw with George Bark earlier that you mentioned, is the grass in iRacing is just so unforgiving. And he got the 2 left side tires on it, and he really couldn't kind of turn it left for that quad oval, that kink, the dog leg in that quad oval, because if he did, it would have spun out. So he kind of had to tiptoe it, came back up in front of another race truck, and they piled in trying to avoid him. 25 got turned into the wall. He got turned around. The 67, the 92 got a piece of it as well. So they piled on in there, and that's a bunch more. Some fast trucks getting torn up. And again, that was a pretty big wreck for a 1.5 mile racetrack. Everybody on the lead lap now down the pit lane, led by the 94 of Gidman. He's going to go all the way down the pit lane to his stall as your current race leader, almost all the way to the end, but not quite. He did not qualify, or actually qualified in 10th, so he's a good distance down the pit lane. We're going to see what he does. The jack is up on the right side of the truck, 2 tires. The crew's going to go over to the left and put 4 on it, fill it up with Sunoco Racing fuel, and the 94 is off, so it's going to be a race off the pit lane. Can anybody challenge him for the number 1 spot. It looks like he has that safely coming out of pit road. So solid stop by the 94 of Goodman to be able to hang on to P1.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you were asking me earlier about that information on this race, and my mic was messing up. I apologize for that. But SH&D Trucking that's gracefully bringing us this race is out of Elburn, Illinois. Our CEO works for Lafarge down there, and they haul a lot of sand around down there. And he works with a lot of them companies down in there. And I believe SH&D may even have a truck that's sponsored in this race as well.
Definitely. So thank you to the good people over there at SH&D Trucking for bringing us this race here on LSRTV. And again, race number 2 in the Cora Championship, and they're mixing things up a little bit. We talked a little bit earlier with Alan about how they have 6 different championships all round into one. They still have the overall, but they got one, for each truck, and less separating of the vehicles, or less variation. You got 4, and they're going to each have their own set amount of races. But one thing, Alan, that I can't help to notice is that in tonight's race, there's no Dale Smalley in the field.
Yeah, no, there's not. I think he maybe tried to take the week off and relax. I'm not sure what's going on with him.
Must be good if you're that good that you can take a week off. But Dale Smalley not in tonight's field. So, again, we talked about last week's race, and I was going to say, let's go over points, but the points is the same as last week's results, and that is Ross Cato, who took home the victory, Churchman second, Everett Lane in third, George Bark in fourth, and Mark McFadden in the 5th position. In that one, Dale Smalley finished 36th, which means dead last in points and is not here tonight, so he might have a little bit of a hill to be inclined, but don't forget when it comes down to it, in the end, there is a 3-race chase for the championship here with the Cora Sunday Money Series. So he is still well in contention for this thing, and that championship race still well down the road. June 22nd is the season finale, and it's going to be trucks at Talladega. So a very familiar combination of cars and tracks here with Cora, and I mean the super speedways. You want to put variation, but those races are just so fun to watch. But I'm sure the drivers hate it.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, it's definitely takes a lot of talent to drive different tracks. I know that I'm not very good, and that's kind of why I'm sitting this race out. The 1.5 miles and the shorter tracks I'm not good at. I kid with people all the time and kind of tell them I'm a steering wheel holder. I'm not a race car driver. Because dumb tracks, all you got to do is hold the steering wheel and aim.
I'm going to go with I'm not good at either, so that's why I just talk and pretend that I know what I'm talking about. But we are doubled up and the lights are off on the Ford First Racing Mustang pace car up atop the field as we enter turn 3 under our 4th yellow of the evening. So we're going to go green to take lap number 56 of 125. So we are approaching the halfway point in this race. Michael Johnson in the 78 is going to bring us to the green flag P1. The 4 of Garrett Atwell is going to be outside row number 1 in the 2nd position as we come off for the pace car, getting ready to dive down the pit road. There it goes, field in the hands of Michael Johnson. When does he go? He's going to wait. Now he's on the loud pedal. The green flag flies, and it's going to be a side-by-side battle for second. Great start by Galen Gidman. He's on the inside of the 4 of Atwell. Atwell's going to shut the door going into turn number 1 as they all start to fan out 2 wide into turn number 1, trying to get sorted in spots. And for the guys that started on the top lane, they want to get down to the bottom because it doesn't seem like anybody quite has a handle on the outside just yet. Now the caution flag is going to fly. The caution to be thrown by race officials. So we're going to slow them down, group them back up. And it looks like trouble with Salacardi in the 39. He blew that thing up and looked like that happened. Oh, big wreck in turn 1 and 2, and the sim didn't throw the caution, so the officials are going to have to do it. And they were going 3 wide into turn number 1 with the 39, the 68, and the 62 machine. And Cardi in the middle of that goes up, collects the, or gets into the left rear of the 62 machine, and that's Chuck Thompson. Thompson gets turned, 68 gets involved in it, and then Salad Cardi went up into the outside wall, smacked the engine, came down, the 81 got collected, and finally when the 39 hit the inside wall, pretty much did the rest of the damage to that engine, and that truck is crab walking at about a 15-degree angle as he gets it down the pit lane. So right after the green flag flies, we're going to slow him back down and pace once again here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. So just one of those products of close quarters racing at this point.
Yeah, that's what it is. It is close quarters racing for sure. While we have a minute, I want to take a little bit of time to go over our new pay format. I know last week Joe might have been a little bit confused on our payouts, and I want to kind of set the record straight. We changed the payouts a little bit from last season. I know the winner used to get $50 to win, and that is no longer the case because what we did is we stretched out the field to pay through the top 18 rather than just the 10. We no longer give the pole sitter the bonus, or we don't have the lucky draws anymore, but we are able to pay out 18 positions. That's half the field that start. Because we take 12 drivers from Monday night's qualifier, 12 from Wednesday nights, and 12 from Saturday nights. So that, leaves us with a field for Sunday of 36 drivers. We had 35 start the race tonight. But the first place gets $30, second place gets $22.50, third place $17.50, fourth place gets $14.50, fifth place gets $12.50, sixth place gets $11, seventh place gets $10, eighth gets $9, ninth gets $8, 10th place gets $7, 11th place gets $6.50, 12th place gets $6, 13th place gets $5.50, 14th place gets $5, 15th place gets $4.50, 16th place gets $4, 17th place gets $3.50, and 18th place gets $3. Along with that, the championships for the individual series are as follows. First place in the championship right now, the way it stands, is going to receive $250, $175 for second, third is $100, fourth is $50, and fifth is $25. That's as it stands right now. But one of the things that we've done is we've allowed drivers to requalify for that championship for the qualifying series, and allowed drivers to pay money into that to be able to get higher up in the points. Well, that's going to add to the championship fund. So these championship numbers are actually subject to change. And then the individual championships that we're doing, the truck champion will receive $36, the Impala $30, the Gen 6 $30, and the IndyCar $24. So we used to say that Cora pays out over $2,000. Well, it's going to be over $4,000 this year that Cora will be paying out.
A great deal that you guys put together, and a lot of changes for season 4, and they can go to Cora-Racing.com to be a part of this, and anybody can get into a qualifying race and race with these guys on the weekend. So Alan, you want to give anybody that's listening and they've been thinking about maybe doing a Cora qualifying race, tell them what that's all about.
Well, it's real easy. You pay a $6 deposit that is not charged until you qualify for the race, and then you just show up and race on Monday night, Wednesday night, or Saturday night. If you finish in the top 12, you make the show on Sunday, and that's where the big money comes in, where we pay out the top 18 positions.
You mentioned now top 18 as opposed to top 10, so that is half of the field getting money from this. So a great deal. Again, if you want to check that out, Cora-Racing.com. Still early on in the going. The next two races and the final two races in the trucks are going to be the Berkey Painting and Sandblasting 125 at Charlotte next week, and then followed by a 1-week hiatus, and then at Daytona, the Hurley Property Management 101 as well. So if you're a fan of the trucks or the Impalas, the Gen 6 or the Indy cars, which are my personal favorite, those things are dangerously fast. Make sure to check these guys out and get into one of these races. It's a lot of fun. So light is off on that pacing car again up at the front of the field. So 78 Michael Johnson is going to be in the #1 spot as he was last time. Didn't really give anybody a chance to get around him because of the early caution flag. So him and his 78 machine qualified in lucky number 13th position, so he's up to number 1. Let's see what he can do with it. The Ford of Garrett Atwell is going to join him alongside for this restart as we work through 3 and 4. The pace car coming out now out of turn number 4 and is going to dive down to the safety of the pit lane, and field's going to be in hands of the 78 of Johnson as pace car is away, and he's going to try to get going here, and the green flag is going to fly. He is off, and we're back racing at Atlanta. Great start by the 4 of Garrett Atwell. He was alongside Johnson into the corner. He's going to have to slide back in line, but is able to hang on to second as they battle side by side. Back in the pack around 9th base, the 88 machine of Churchma in 8th is trying to hold off some fast trucks behind him down the back and going into 3.
Yeah, somebody that's kind of kept a low profile. I don't think we've mentioned his name at all yet tonight, making a run here on the inside of the 90 cars at number 45 of Kerry Cleaver. He's just kind of hanging out and waiting for things to sort out in front of him so he can make his move toward the front.
Definitely he's being scored 19th position at this point. He qualified in 21st, and still a lot of racing to go as this time by the start-finish line. We will take the halfway point in this race. Who's going to lead it is a different story, because now the Ford of Garrett Atwell is on the inside of Michael Johnson. This time by the stripe, it is going to be Atwell with the lead, and the 94 of Galen Gidman is in tow on the back bumper to that 4 on the inside lane, and going to be same old song and dance for our leaders, and that is if you can't maintain that inside lane, you're going to get freight trained, because now the 94 has gotten side by side with him into the corner and is going to evidently get around him unless that 78 can find some speed where nobody else has been able to. Can't get it done, and now the 27 of Gary Bowers on the inside. Battling up front, though, Galen Gidman tried to get to the inside. The 4 of Atwell shut the door. They're going at it for P1.
Yeah, they definitely are. I think Garrett Atwell's got that Berkey painting sweat sandblasting truck moving.
He was on that left rear in the corner, and that's always a touchy part of that race truck for sure. But he's going to stay about a half a car length off. He comes a run now. At a 4, gets right up on the back bumper, and I don't think he wants to get close with it. I think he's going to get on the back bumper of that 4 and bump draft down that entire front straightaway, and still nose to tail through 1 and 2. And now out of 2, the door is going to open, and he's going to pounce on it. 94 to the inside of race leader Garrett Atwell down the back straightaway, and now going into 3 side by side for position number 1.
Yeah, it almost looked like we were at Talladega the way he was pushing him down the back straightaway there.
He forced it, and he got the spot, and he's going to have the advantage at the stripe. So Galen Gidman into turn number 1 is going to clear the 4 machine. Atwell is able to jump down in line and prevent any further bleeding from getting stuck on that outside lane. So he's going to get right back in now on the back bumper of Gidman, and you can see a little bit of draft that these guys get if they get right up on the back of that truck in front of them. But through 3 and 4, the 94 of Gidman opens up his lead a little bit, but now you'll see the 4 start to slowly close in as he tries to mimic the 94 machine's line down the front straightaway. But Galen Gidman having a solid machine at this point. More side by side in the top 10. The 50 machine of Lance Johnson is on the inside of the 78 of Michael Johnson. So the Johnsons going at it side by side down the back straightaway. Lance Johnson on the inside of the 50 truck is going to be the winner of that. He's going to get around him. The 20 of David Wink is now also on the inside of Michael Johnson and coming out of the corner, going to get around him as well. So the 78 of Michael E. Johnson going to go from P6 back to P8 and has more company with the 53 machine of Daniel Lingerfeld inside, but trouble on the racetrack. Caution flag is going to fly as they're wrecking on the front straightaway. The 79 of Joel Wood is up along the fence and going to try to get the replay up here, and looks like it was a side-by-side battle with the 18 of Anderson and the 67 in front of him as you take a look at the replay, and 79 was there, and Jay Anderson just could not hang on to it, caught the 79 of Joel Wood Anderson on his lid. That is about the 3rd or 4th incident that he has been caught up in, and that one was a part of. And then the 62 truck came flying in, tried to go low to avoid those trucks wrecking in front of them. There's Chuck Thompson. He was just in the last caution, I do believe. He nailed Anderson while Anderson was on his lid, and Jay Anderson is going to be a little bit dizzy after that trip down the front straightaway.
Yeah, he definitely, like I said before, Jay Anderson's definitely got my vote for the Hard Luck of the Race award tonight. He's just not having things go his way tonight for sure.
Sometimes when it's just not your night, it's just not your night. And the one thing about racing that makes it so interesting is there's so many different variables in it. You're not just focused on one guy, because easily all 35 of these guys are capable of winning this race, and evidently that's how they qualified in. So out of the 35 trucks that started, 2 of them are out of the race at this point. Salicardi, the 39 truck, is in 35th position, 13 laps down behind the wall. Jay Anderson in the 18 machine is currently behind the wall, being shown 34th. Chuck Thompson in 33rd is the last truck running, 33rd, 2 laps down. Ben Manning into 67 is also 2 laps down. And then Colton Berkey, the only car at this point, 1 lap down. So he's in the spot to receive that lucky dog under the yellow flags. And there's been a lot of comers and goers in this race, but how about the truck sitting in 4th position? That is the 50 machine of Lance Johnson. That truck started in 23rd, has managed to keep his nose clean, pick his way through this field, and now he finds himself inside of the top 5, and a good amount of laps left of this thing that he can find his way to the front. This time by, it will be 55 laps to go in this race. So Alan, the way the cautions have flown, this is when you really need that track position, because you got to think, as the laps continue to wind down now, as we're on the downhill slope of things, the intensity is going to pick up, the aggressiveness is going to pick up, and that's going to make that track position oh so important. And you really need to capitalize on these restarts to try to make up for spots.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, something I was noticing as you were going over that leaderboard there is we're starting to hear some of the names now that we haven't talked about a whole lot this race, like Lance Johnson. David Wink has kind of quietly been just hanging around and keeping his nose clean. Gordon Berkey, Don Stevenson we haven't mentioned a whole lot. And look at even top in 10th place there, Robert O'Neill. I don't even think we've mentioned his name tonight. So them guys are just kind of hanging around and waiting for things to fall into place for them, and trying to stay out of trouble, and they're doing one whale of a job, I think.
I do believe the one time we mentioned Robert O'Neill's name is when I made a point that he was the only truck that took to the grid that did not qualify. He started 35th, and again, you mentioned running inside the top 10. So solid job for the 61 truck. You talked about some of those other names. Gordon Berkey in the 17, sitting 7th. He started 28th in this thing. So as this race starts to go on, it's almost shaping up like it's going to be the race of who can just work their way up there, as opposed to sitting on the number 1 spot. Gary Bauer, our pole sitter, is in 17th position. Everett Lane in the 1, who is always a tough contender, qualified 27th, sitting in 16th. So he's still trying to get his way up to the front of the field. I mean, you got to take a look. The 88 truck also. 88 has been strong all night long. He is now in the 20th position as they cycle through under the yellow flags. So lots and lots of position shuffling up inside of the top 10. And throughout the whole field, for that matter, is up at the front of the pack. The light is off on that Ford First Racing Mustang pace car. So we're going to double them back up and take another swing at things. The 94 of Gidman is going to be on the front row, and he's going to be joined by Garrett Atwell, but that is a strong looking second row with the 35 of Sedlak and the 50 of Johnson, and also the 20 of Wank in 5th. And Daniel Lingerfeld also in the 53 is sitting in 6th. He qualified for this race 34th. So a lot of these guys up front have had to work for their way to get up there.
Yeah, I think the 18 is going to give up the ghost. I think he's going to pull it behind the wall and decide that he's had enough for tonight. I guess I can't blame him.
He had to get it towed back to his pit stall, and he's sitting there right now. He's been given an EOL penalty for being deemed the cause of the caution. And they're sitting there in the pit road. I think he's having a discussion with his crew chief and wondering if there's any point of continuing on at this point, and it can be frustrating as a driver. First of all, when things don't go your way, but when you've had the luck that he has had tonight, it can really get to you. Doubled up, coming out of turn number 4. Lights off and a pace car down to the safety in the pit lane. The 94 of Galen Kidman is going to lead us to the start by the restart line. Green flag is out. He's on the loud pedal. And we are off racing. A good start by the truck in P3. The 35 of Sedlak going to move up in the second spot. And the 20 machine of Wink going to get around the 50 of Johnson in the corner. So that inside lane with a great start. And now it looks like the 53 of Daniel Lingerfeld has some trouble. Slides up at a 2 and is holding back the 17 of Gordon Berkey. And they're going to start to crowd in behind them into turn number 3. Shuffling throughout the racetrack, 2-3 wide contact. The 42 of George Bark is around. The caution flag is out, up and over, and the big one at a turn number 4. Caution is going to fly in a huge wreck in 3 and 4. And we got to get the replay for that, but it looked like the 42 machine may have gotten spun, but they were going 2-3 wide. And replay's up now. You see the 42 machine is on the inside lane, and that's Bark, and slides up a little bit to check up for the 27. 83 gets a bump from the 78, and that got into the 42 and sent George Bark into the outside wall. And I mean, 16 got a piece of it, 78 got a piece of it, the 90 is in it as well, 92, 25, 15, at least a dozen trucks were in that thing. But George Barkley at 42 is going to get the worst of it as he went up and over several times. And tough break for him as we saw him up at the front of the pack earlier on in this race. And same thing happened. Got caught up with it in an incident. I believe it was the first one when he got those 2 side tires on the grass. Came up back in front of the pack and collected Anderson. He was working his way forward, and just another tough break going to put us under the caution flag again. And you can see that, maybe that position where those guys would have been in 3 wide, they wouldn't have done that in the opening laps, but you could tell that the intensity is picking up because they know that they have to try to make something happen if they want to advance their position. So now we need to set things up for the end of this race. Pacing on lap number 75 of 125. So next time by the stripe, it will be 50 laps to go. The guys inside of this top 5 know that the guys behind them are going to be making aggressive moves to try to get forward, but they also got to keep an eye on each other and, check your 6. You can't be focused on making the pass in front of you, because if you got all of your attention focused on that guy in front of you, before you know it, the guy behind you can get a nose in on your inside. You won't even know it. So you almost have to play offense and defense at the same time. Say if you're a Garrett Atwell sitting in 3rd, you're going to want to get up front and get around Sedlak and Gidman, but you know that guys like Wink, Johnson, and Lingerfeld behind you are going to try to get around you. So Carl, I want to bring you into this discussion. If you were sitting maybe around 10th position at this point in the race, and knowing how many laps are left and how the caution flags are flying, I mean, how aggressive do you need to be to try to get these spots? Carl having some problems with his microphone at the moment, but we are still under the yellow flag right now. Carl, you got that thing plugged back in? He's working on it. We're talking to him, but he needs to get his microphone button fixed. So as he works on that, taking a look at the guys right now. Again, 30 trucks it is on the lead lap, and you got to take a look at the guys again. Michael Churchma, and you got to have pit stops as well as we're here under the yellow flag. Alan, you run with these guys. You said primarily at the super speedway tracks. Do you think that? What do you think these guys are going to do pit strategy wise?
Oh, it's hard to say. This is a little bit different animal. Tires are very important here. I know. I personally would want tires any chance I got. Four fresh tires and fuel. But you never know. Some guys give up a little bit of tires. It looks like a couple of them are staying out though. So I don't know. We'll see.
It's almost a risk versus reward. You know that if you come down, you're going to get those 4 fresh Goodyears, but at the same time, there's a lot of trucks on this lead lap. If you come down and you drop easily outside of the top 25 if you're one of our leaders. And at that point, you gotta look at it and say, well, do you want to be back there the way these wrecks have been? Because these, I mean, typically for a 1.5 mile track, you don't see a lot of cautions. These trucks are very racy, but the wrecks that we've seen, I mean, they piled them in there. They're big chain reaction wrecks. So I don't know if you want to be put back there in the middle of the pack, because that's really the danger zone.
Yeah, definitely. And I think another thing that's key here is patience. You know, maybe not making the move when it's available, and holding off until you can make it, you know, make a smart move rather than a good move. You know what I mean? There is a difference.
Definitely, for sure, it's going to be a matter of, do they force the issue and maybe stick that nose in there where there's not quite enough room. That's what we're going to find out here as we are doubled up. The lights are off again up top, that Ford First Racing Mustang pace car. So the field works through 3 and 4, and the crowd at the Atlanta Motor Speedway begins to rise to their feet again, because we got another restart coming up, and it could be a big one. Pace car down to the pit lane. Gidman is in control of this field. He waits. He's on the loud pedal. The green flag is out. Inside lane with not the strongest start in the world, so the 35 of Sedlak is going to be able to hang on to position number 2 now, going in through 1 and 2. In side-by-side, first battle at side-by-side inside the top 5 is for 5th with the 50 of Lance Johnson, trying to hold off the 53 of Daniel Lingerfeld on the outside lane, and the 33 machine of Travis Brown is there as well behind the 50. Trucks bouncing around in the corner, trying to find the grip, trying to get that run off, because for these long straightaways, especially that front stretch, you want as much momentum as you can and as much speed to get you there as you can. Side by side for 15th, the 27 of Gary Bauer has company with Alan. You talked about the 45 of Kerry Cleaver. He's up the 14th on the inside lane. More guys back there. The 29 of Dylan Ackard on the inside of the 88 of Michael Churchma. The 1 machine of Everett Lane is there as well. The 30 of Ross Cato there as well. So there's a lot of fast guys in this pack here going at it for about 15th. The 18 of Churchma almost made it 3 wide. Now up on the back bumper, the 27 as Gary Bauer actually gets around the 45 on the outside lane. Can the 88 of Churchma do the same thing? He does. So the 40 of Kerry Cleaver, despite having the preferred lane on the inside, is going to lose 2 spots that last circuit around the track. Still trying to fan out after this restart. The top 4 trucks have broken away, and 5th on back is where the battle is. The 50 of Lance Johnson on the inside of the 53 of Daniel Lingerfeld. The 33 of Travis Brown is there. The 47 of Don Stevenson is pushing that 53 on the top lane, trying to get him to be able to get around that 50 machine of Johnson. Johnson, despite being on the inside, has not been able to get around Lingerfeld since we went back to the green flag. The 33 of Travis Brown has a little bit of a run, probably not going to force the 3 wide just quite yet. He's going to stay behind the 50 machine of Lance Johnson, and the 17 is also in this picture. That's Gordon Berkey. So a lot of fast guys all close together, but those top 4 starting to pull away single file. It is Gidman, Sedlak, Atwell, and Wink. The top 4 at this point is now the 50 machine of Lance Johnson, and 5th is going to clear the 53 of Daniel Lingerfeld and take sole position of the number 5 spot. The 33 of Travis Brown is now on the inside of that 53 truck and has the advantage. He's going to clear him as well. Almost gets to the inside of Johnson in the 50. He's got to check up, and now he finds that 53 side by side. 53 in the wall, a wiggle back out into the outside wall as Daniel Lingerfeld tries to hang on to it as he ran that outside wall halfway down the back straightaway. He's going to hang on.
Yeah, that was quite the save by Daniel Lingerfeld there. Them other guys were kind of weaving and bobbing, not sure in what was going to happen in front of them, but they all keep it going in the right direction for now.
We're keeping the wheels under it 4 now as the top 4 continuing to pull away. It's about a second of a differential between the 4th and 5th position, so leading almost a secondary pack is the 50 of Lance Johnson. Travis Brown is took position of number 6, but however, the 47 of Don Stevenson in his red, white, and blue machine is on the inside of Travis Brown at a 4, and he's going to move up and take that 6th position from him as well. But they're battling all over the racetrack. We're just trying to keep an eye on who's going where, because they are still not really separating after we went back to the green flag. The 06 is going to catch the wall. That's Daniel Miller. He's next to the 88 of Churchma. So a lot of fast guys all over the racetrack here trying to get a green flag run in late in the going.
Yeah, the 00 just got loose off the corner and lost a couple of positions. The 45 got to his inside, and I can't catch the number on the truck beside him, but yeah, the old 00 there, James Brown, our Cora president, he almost bounced off the wall there.
Up front, they're still pretty tame. The top 4 remain in a single file line with about a car length in between each other, but 5th on back is where the battle is. You talked about the 17 of Gordon Berkey, rather, in 8th position. He's side by side with Travis Brown, as Travis Brown had a little bit of trouble when he was on the back bumper to the 47 of Don Stevenson. Stevenson is following Lance Johnson. They have actually lost another 0.7 of a second to our leader, and now Stevenson's going to pull out and go to the inside of the 50 of Johnson. So Don Stevenson in the 47 to the inside of Lance Johnson in 3 and 4, trying to get the grip on that machine. He has the preferred lane. The advantage is going to be with the 50 of Lance Johnson, this time by the stripe, almost making contact through the dog leg, and now back in through turn number 1. Don Stevenson is going to utilize that inside lane, and you see start to pull away the 50 of Johnson in the outside wall. He's sideways. He's going to hang on to it. He's now coming up in front of this big group of cars. They're going to check up, and they'll hang on for now.
I'm watching the...
I almost called it too early. 27, Gary Bauer, sideways. He's going to hang on to it. Comes back up. Oh, now he's going to get taken out. The 01 machine going to get into him. The caution flag flies. And I think I called that too early. It looked like they were going to hang on to it as the caution is out. But the 27 machine of Gary Bauer checked up. You take a look at the replay, got 2-3 hits from the 88 of Churchma. What a save. And then the 45 of the 01 came. The 27 of Bauer blends back up, and the 01 just lost it and just smashed the 27 of Gary Bauer. And again, a multi-car wreck. The 00's in it. The 68 is in it. The 1 barely got through at Everett Lane with a close call. And again, another big wreck at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And we're going to slow them back down, group them back up, and take another shot at this thing as the laps continue to wind down, this time by as the race leader 94 of Galen Gidman crosses the stripe. We are going to be at 35 laps remaining in this race.
Yeah, the old 00 almost made his way through that, but just got clipped there on the outside going by. I kind of feel bad for him because he about had it missed.
It just barely got a piece of that. 94 of Galen Gidman, race leader down the pit lane. Garrett Atwell, David Wink, Don Stevenson, Lance Johnson, Gordon Berkey, Lingerfeld, Travis Brown, Robert O'Neill, Michael Churchma, Daniel Miller, Dylan Eckhart, Ross Cato, Michael Johnson, Everett Lane, and Michael Vandersall is going to stay out on the racetrack. In the 83 machine, James Brown down, Kerry Cleaver down, Mark McFadden's going to stay out, Dominique Dieball's going to stay out. You'll set Bradley Cooper down the pit lane, Gary Bauer down the pit lane, Joel Wood is going to come down the pit lane. The 11 machine of Edward Smith is going to stay out. So a couple trucks going to try to stay out and move up to the front of this pack. Unless they're staying out to try to get a bonus point for leading the lap, they're going to have some fast trucks to hang off.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. We've been under green now for a little while. I'm not sure that that's a real good idea to stay out on old tires like that, because you're just going to get eaten up by the guys on new tires.
And definitely so. The plot twists again as the leaders come down the pit lane. Some trucks back in the pack are going to stay out, so we're getting set for a wild finish here, and it's been a wild race so far at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, and When we come back, we're going to take you to the checkered flag and find out who's going to take home the checkered flag. It's the SH&D Trucking 125 at the Atlanta Motor Speedway with LSRTV and Cora Sunday Money. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
We are delighted to announce that the new Red Bull Air Race World Championship will take to the air and will be back in 2014.
There we have it, 2014, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome back to the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Evan Pizzoco, Alan Larson, and Carl Jones up on the booth with Cora in the Sunday Money Championship Series. We're coming down to the finish here, and we're getting fixed for another restart. We've had 8 cautions for 31 caution laps and 10 lead changes so far, and we're going to find out if we have another lead change because we're coming to the green. The 83 of Michael Vandersal is going to lead us there as the pace car down to the pit lane. 15 of Dominic Dieball right on his back bumper. 83 just took off. The green flag is out, and the battle's going to be on for a second with Dieball on the inside of the 90 of Mark McFadden. Faden in the 90 machine is going to not be able to hang on. He's going to slowly slide back, and a huge run for the 35 of Nathan Sedlak. Remember, these guys up here in the top 3 did not come down the pit lane, and Alan, we talked about that under the yellow flag. It's going to be tough for them to hang on for this many laps.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be real tough for him.
Huge run by the 94 now of Galen Gidman. Gidman all the way back up to the back bumper of Sedlak, but he has to stall out. There's nowhere left for him to go because Sedlak is trying to find a way around Dominic Dieball in the 15 machine, who's sitting P2. This time coming up out of turn number 2. The door is going to open, and Sedlak is going to stick the nose down there to the inside. Does the door get shut on him into 3? It does. Dominic Dieball going to hang on to second. So those guys that did not pit are hanging on fairly good for now. Michael Vandersal in the 83 machine is your current race leader up at the front of the field as Sedlak continues to ride the back bumper. The 15 now, and 1 almost makes contact with the left rear, trying to find a way around. Now he's going to get there to the inside of the 2, and we're going to go side by side for P2 down the back straightaway. A big group of cars is formed behind them, 2 wide, almost 7 rows deep. as they've been all trying to get around this 15 truck, who hasn't been a lot slower than these guys, but just that little bit at a track that has so much momentum required to make these passes has really been holding these guys back. Now that the 35 of Sedlak has cleared Dieball into 15, the 94 of Gidman's got around, as well as now the 4 of Atwell is on the inside of Dominic Dieball's 15 machine. We're going to see now how strong is that 83 truck up at P1, because here comes Nathan Sedlak, and he's closing fast with the 94 of Galen Gidman in tow at a Ford. This time by, it's a truck length at the start-finish line. Going into turns 1 and 2, the 35 is just inches off Vandersaal's back bumper, and now at a 2, does he make a step to the inside? He gets on the back bumper. He's going to push him down the back straightaway, tries to send him off into the corner and move him out of the way. Not quite. 35 can't get it done. Going to remain P2 as the 83 of Vandersaal is hanging on for dear life in P1 right now. He's still leading, and now they're scrambling back in the pack as everyone's trying to avoid. There was a check of, I believe, the 29 machine of Dylan Ackard got a little bit loose, and they're all going to hang on for now, though, and they're pointed the right direction. Still bumper to bumper up front. .35 is there. Again, Nathan Sedlak in P2. Gidman in third. The fourth place car is the Ford. Oh, they need to avoid a slow car. The leaders are going to wreck, and no caution flag has flown quite yet, and there was a lap car parked on the caution flag is now flying, but there was a lap car going very slow, and that is the 11 truck. The caution is out. The 11 of Edward Smith was, I'm taking a look at the replay and trying to find out what happened, and it looked like he self-spun in turn number 4, stopped, and was getting back up to speed, and went down all the way to the white line to try to get out of the way, but drifted up off of that white line in that kink in the quad oval. If this was a tribal, they probably would have got through, but that dog leg right there, the 11 pushed up, gone the way of the leaders, and they all scrambled to avoid it, and now 2 of our race leaders ended up in the inside wall. Garrett Atwell, Lance Johnson, one of the drivers that was driving through the field, is in it. Nathan Sedlak is in it, and another plot twist at Atlanta.
Oh my God, unbelievable. I don't know what the 11 was thinking or what happened. Almost looked like he was dead in the water, like his computer had dropped out or something.
He had that trouble in 4 and just didn't really get up to speed real quick, and a tough break for all of those guys. And got a feel, and now we're going to have some drivers come down the pit lane. Vandersaal is going to stay out. Galen Gidman coming in from second. Don Stevenson's going to stay out. Lingerfeld's going to stay out. Churchma is going to stay out. Wink is staying out. Ross Cato down the pit lane. So some selective drivers, and then most of them towards the back of this lead lap, are going to come back down the pit lane and put 4 fresh tires on it, as we are now inside of 25 laps to go. And a strange incident, to say the least. And I do believe, Carl, you got your mic working?
Yeah, 10-4.
Carl, if you were sitting inside of the, taking a look, let's say you're sitting in the top 10, what do these guys need to be thinking coming down to these 25 laps? You know that there's probably going to be some cautions, because the anticipation and the intensity is picking up at this point. What is going to be the key to keeping yourself out of those wrecks?
I don't really know if there's a key to stay out of it. We just saw him. I've never seen anything like that in my life. Wow, that was a scary moment there for the leaders. I think we lost our top 3 cars out of that, except for the leader himself. But like I said, I don't know how you're going to keep out of that kind of stuff, because this is a case where cautions just breed cautions, especially now we're getting down towards the end of the race and everybody just wanting to go.
And I'm taking a look, and if you're on the onboard, I don't know if we can get a shot, if Laura can get up an onboard with the 4 of Garrett Atwell, and he was running in line behind Galen Gidman and on the back bumper of that truck, so he could not see that lap car, and he goes to the inside and nearly just completely wipes out that truck, comes inches from him, And I mean, that's got to be scary as a driver. You know, you just take a look out, next thing you know, there's a truck 100 miles off the pace on your inside. So a very, very close call for those guys. Unfortunately, 94 and those guys could not, keep going the right direction. So it's hard. It's hard when you've seen the wrecks that we have seen tonight, where it's really not two guys getting too aggressive and taking each other out, because it seems like most of these have been incidental contact, slightest bit, but a lot of trucks. I mean, every single wreck, it's taken out like tons of cars. So a lot of these guys limping around the track. I mean, for the amount of cautions and how big they've been, we still have 22 trucks remaining on the lead lap. So there's still a lot of competition left in this race. We can't forget about that. Michael van der Sal in the 83 P1. Don Stevenson in the 47 in second. Daniel Lingerfelt in the 53 is in third. The 88 of Michael Churchma back up into the top 5. He's in fourth. And then David Wink in the 20 machine is in fifth. So we saw Churchma up front pretty much the whole beginning half of that race. He kind of slid back to the top 20, but once everybody made their pit stops and things kind of cycle back through, he is now back up in contention. I know, Carl, you mentioned that 88 truck is solid, and do you think he's going to be able to get it done here from P4?
Well, I've been watching the 88 all day long, and he has been really, really strong. He kind of drifted back here towards the middle of the race, but I think that was by design, just to let the race wind down. I think he's ready to roll again. It's getting down to the end of the race. I think we're going to see him coming back to the front.
So we'll keep an eye on that 88 machine of Michael Churchma in the 88. He is sitting up fourth, coming up for this restart. The lights are, I do believe, off the Ford First Racing Mustang pace car at this point. So the 83 of van der Sal is in first. Don Stevenson is going to be on his outside. They're making up row number 1. Stevenson started this race back in 16th position. Van der Sal started in second. So a tale of two different worlds here on the front lane, but we're going to see how they decided, because the field is working through 3 and 4, possibly for the final restart. We're going to have to find out as the Ford First Racing Mustang pace car comes down off of the banking in turn number 4, dives down to the safety pit lane right there. And it's up to that 83 and when he wants to go. And Michael van der Sal is off. The green flag is out. A great jump by the 53 of Daniel Lingerfeld. He's going to get the inside of Stevenson as Stevenson holds up Churchman on the outside lane with not the greatest of starts for sure. And it's going to be the first place machine pulling away in turns 1 and 2. Lingerfeld now going to slide up in front and take sole position of number 2 in that second spot. They're going to have to chase down the 83, though, in these closing laps as the 27 to 94 goes spinning down the back straightaway, and the caution flag going to fly at Atlanta as trouble. And this time it looks like, as we're going to get the replay up and you take a look, the 27 of Gary Bauer just losing the handle of it at a 2, and that's not a very common sight to see the 27 machine lose the handle. Gary Bauer, as you're taking a look at the replay, came down, caught the 94. They went into the inside wall and came back up into the racetrack. Did not collect anybody else, but we're going to group them back up, and these restarts keep coming with less and less laps to go, and which means the intensity is only going to continue to go through the roof. The only change up front is Lingerfeld now finds himself in second, and Don Stevenson in the 47 is now going to be starting third, which may be good for him because it seems like that inside lane gets a little bit better of a restart if you're behind that leader as opposed to the guy in second, because if you're in second place, you cannot have your nose past the race leader. So you're going to be looking out that side window or through the window net and try to see where he goes. If you're in third, you can pretty much ride the back bumper of the race leader and get going. So that's how Lingerfeld went from third to second. So he might have some trouble here holding off Don Stevenson. The 47 to 47 could be strong when we restart because he'll have that inside lane. Churchma and the 88, he's still going to be outside row 2 in fourth position when we go back green here. So another caution flag, lap 107. When we go back green, it'll be about 15 to go, and it's going to be an interesting one coming down to the checkered for sure. It's been a strange race, a lot of cautions in this one, but to this point so far, it's definitely been entertaining.
No, without a doubt, it's been entertaining, but Man, oh man, what a race. I just hope these guys can hold it together and give us a good finish.
So you got to take a look throughout the field, and a lot of these guys, and almost it's been a story of unfortunate and things that are out of your control. I know that George Bart has collected a bunch of incidents. Those guys that got the wreck right there, you had Lance Johnson, you had the 35 machine of Sedlak. Jay Anderson has also pretty much had a cruddy night when it comes down to luck. A lot of these guys have not, I mean, the race hasn't given them anything. They've just been caught up in thing after thing that really they have not caused, and that could be the story of this race is, you know, who can squeak through these things. And definitely the safest place on the racetrack is going to be P1, and that's the only place that you're safe to a description, because you're going to have that guy in second place beating on your back bumper trying to get up to P1. So it'll be a fun finish here as we decide the winner for the SH&D Trucking 125.
Yeah, speaking of SH&D, I want to give a shout out to them, and thanks a lot for bringing this race. But I'd also like to talk a little bit about some of the other sponsored trucks we have out there. Like I said, James Brown, our CEO, works down at Lafarge, and he works with a number of different trucking companies hauling sand around the Chicago and that area down in there anyway. But we've got Everett Lane. He's in the WW Trucking out of Sandwich, Illinois. David Wink is in the LR Kelly Trucking truck. And Ross Cato's in the Curio Trucking. R&R Transport, Joel Wood. Nathan Sedlak is in the D&K Trucking. Then Sal Arcadia is in another Curial Trucking. Mike Johnson in the RMT Trucking. Colton Berkey is actually the SH&D Trucking truck out there. The Lafarge employees sponsor a truck, and that's Michael Churchman's 88 machine. Rexy Buchanan, that is normally in the field, wasn't able to make this race, so his paint is run tonight by the 16 truck of Jacob Nye. Gary Bauer, that 27 truck, Bobby Dixon Trucking is the owner of that machine, or the sponsor of that machine. And Jay Anderson is driving the Coles Wheelboard Truck Center out of Redwood Falls, Minnesota. They're also one of our primary sponsors. And of course, Berkey Painting and Sandblasting, normally driven by Martin Porter, tonight is being driven by Garrett Atwell.
A lot of those, a lot of trucking sponsors, and a lot of those definitely ring a bell for sure when it comes to some of the race sponsors that you have here at Cora.
Absolutely, and big shout out to all them guys.
We got a development on the track here. Looks like the 83 of Michael Vandesdal has moved all the way to the back of the field for some reason.
Taking a look at the 83 truck to see what has happened with him, and I'd taken a look on the replay to see, and it does not look like he pitted. I'm trying to see, he was leading and pulled up high, and
they gave him an EOL penalty.
Yeah, he was given an EOL penalty by the race officials. So your race leader is now at the back of the lead lap.
The only thing I can imagine there is maybe jump the start, the last start.
I know that we heard some radio communications about that. That could be the case, so tough break. He is now out of contention almost for this win. Green flag back out, and when that's all said and done, Daniel Lingerfeld to P1, so good job, Carl, for catching that. Tough break for Michael Vanderstal in the 83, going to go from leading this race to the back of this lead lap. Lingerfeld pulling away for P1, but he's got a fast hot rod behind him. That's the 88 of Michael Churchma. Side by side behind them, the 20 of David Wink is on the inside of the 47 of Don Stevenson through 3 and 4. Now caution is going to fly on the racetrack. Trouble as in down the front straightaway. The 11 truck is spinning. The 62 is around, and caution to fly once again as Trouble, it looked like it was coming at a 3 and at a 4, and those cars got spun around, and a quick caution by the iRacing service. Always an unpredictable one for sure, but it looks like it was the 11 and the 62 getting together at a 4. That is the 62 truck of Chuck Thompson. He's had his share of bad luck tonight, and the 11 machine of Edward Smith getting together at a 4. They spun, both kept it out of the wall, I do believe, so not a lot of damage on those trucks, but it's going to group us back up once again for another late race restart.
Yeah, it looks like the 62 stuck his nose in there, and it didn't know that the 11 was going to come right back down, and the 11 kind of turned him. So that's going to be a hard call on who to pin that one on.
And that's something that, again, I touched on earlier, is if you're looking at that guy in front of you, you're trying to get around him, you can't be looking in front of you. If you're really trying to get that spot, you're focused on that truck in front of you, you're not really going to be glancing up at that rear view mirror. So your spotter's kind of got a tough angle there when you're going through 3 and 4 to see if you're clear or not. And sometimes you almost don't want to trust your spotter. You want to say, no, I think I got an extra inch to get down there. And you can easily lose track of where those guys are behind you, or you can get a little bit of encouragement and think, yeah, maybe I can get this done, and get down there to the inside, and turns out not quite enough room to make it happen. However, it is late in the going. Those are the kind of moves that you're going to have to make if you want to advance your position and try to take home, if you're back there around 14th, you try to take home a top 10, or for those guys up front to try to get this victory. The way it's shaping up right now, it looks like Michael Churchman in second may be the strongest truck out of those guys inside of the top 5 at this point. Now, he needs to be careful, though, trying to get around the 53 of Lingerfeld. If he kind of looks to the outside, that 20 of David Wink, who, Alan, you mentioned, he's kind of been quietly hanging around here up front. He qualified 8th. He hasn't really left the front of this field, and he finds himself in 3rd, so he is also a serious threat to take home this win. You also talked about Kerry Cleaver in the 45, started 21st. He is in 7th. Everett Lane in the 1, always a tough competitor, started in 27th, is now making an appearance in the top 10. He is in 6th. 17 of Gordon Berkey is in 5th. So there's still a lot of fast guys slowly climbing their way into this top group of race cars. The only issue is if they keep getting yellow flags, they're not going to have enough time to try to make their move and get up front.
Yeah, definitely. The time is definitely running out for some of these guys that are a little bit farther back. They're going to have to really do some hard racing to get up there. But I'm looking at maybe that 17 or 47 truck being getting up there and racing with that 88 and that 20. Daniel, I'm not sure. We'll see if he can hold him off or not. But man, it's coming down to it's going to be quite a finish. I'm really looking forward to it.
Your current race leader, Daniel Lingerfeld, qualified 34th. So that was the last car, or came last in qualifying, with a lap of 32 seconds. So if you look at the stat sheet, he did have the 9th fastest truck in practice, so we know that he has the speed, but he does not have the speed that we've seen Michael Churchman have consistently in tonight's race. So can he hang on in the 53? That's we're gonna have to find out, as we are still single file, and lights currently remain on top the Ford First Racing Mustang pace car. However, I do believe this time by we may be getting one to go.
I'm hearing another EOL. The leader again changed lanes before the start-finish line on that last restart and has been given an EOL.
2 times in a row that the race leader, and the leader gets such a good start that it's hard for him to keep a track of that. And Daniel Lingerfeld is going to go from race lead to 22nd position and join the 83 of Michael Vandersal back there. Wow. You talk about plot twist or what, guys?
Yeah, no doubt. That's definitely a plot twist. Apparently he changed lanes. That's one of the rules. So, you can't change lanes before the start-finish line, and apparently on that last restart he did that, and that is an EOL penalty. So he'll have to pay the price, and that's
Pretty bad.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, now we find the 88 of Michael Churchma up front, and arguably the fastest truck on the racetrack. So don't count out those guys behind him, but at the same time, Churchman no longer has to focus on passing everybody. He just needs to get out and go and get away from these guys and try to hang on. And gonna come green, and we're taking 10 to go. So if we have quick cautions, we might be able to take 2 more of them, but no green, white checkers. You want to be out front no matter what lap it is. Coming out of turn 4, lights off, the pace car is down to the pit lane, field in the hands of the 88 of Michael Churchma past the restart line. Green flag flies, he's going to stay down there, and he comes up in front of the 20 and David Wink by that start-finish line. So Wink sitting in second now on the back bumper. He got a good start for starting in second. They're going to pull away from the third place truck. The third place truck is Don Stevenson. Stevenson about a couple car lengths back, about 5 or 6 back of Wink. 2-3 wide back in the pack. The 33 of Travis Brown, and 8 is in the middle of a battle. He's out inside, rather, the 45 of Cleaver, who's on the outside lane, and he's also behind the 15.
Oh, double zero's going around.
Trouble cautions out. The 67 is around, and they're going to pile him in again out of turn number 4. Big trouble in the corner, and the caution is going to fly, and that's going to come back to, I do want to say, trying to find what truck that is, and looks like it may have been Daniel Miller in the, or we're taking a look, it was the 61 truck, I do believe, on the inside. That is Robert O'Neill, and was side by side with the 00. As you take a look at the replay right now, 00 machine of James Brown gets turned sideways in front of the field. 17 is in it, the 30 is in it, the 06 gets a piece of it as well, and just another junkyard on the front stretch. 34, 83, 01, 90 just gets through it, and another big wreck at Atlanta. And again, I mean, these wrecks have been huge tonight.
Yeah, they definitely have, and you get close quarters racing like that, I guess you're gonna have that, but dang.
And the two guys that EOL back there, they were both in it. Boy, luck just gets worse and worse.
Yeah, from bad to worse for those guys that we've seen at the front of the field. Lingerfeld is down the pit lane trying to get his machine fixed. Michael Vandersal is still on the racetrack, but in 16th position and has some bent sheet metal from that, and it's going to set up for a late race restart, and I do believe it's going to be at the point where if we do see another caution flag fly, which, by the way, these last few laps have gone, you have to assume will happen before they get to the checkered flag, the 88 of Churchma just needs to nail this restart, and he will be able to maintain that number 1 spot, stay out in front of everything, and try to take this thing home. The 20 of Wink is up to the 2nd spot, so don't count him out by any means. And how about Everett Lane in the 1? Up the 4th now, Gordon Berkey is 17. Alan, you mentioned keep an eye on him. He's in 5th place as well. Travis Brown in the 33, another familiar face at Cora. He's in 7th position. Nathan Sedlak in the 35, who went from the front of the pack to getting caught up in the incident with the lap car, is back up to 9th, so I think he's pretty much run out of time to challenge for the win, but a good job by him in the 35 to be able to get back up inside the top 10 and salvage after such a tough break.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. These guys, keeping their nose clean is definitely the key, and so far these guys up front that are still up front have done so, and just, you know, it's a chess match, almost like it is at Talladega sometimes, just trying to, you know when and where to make your move, and try and stay out of the trouble when it happens.
So the race officials are going over, and I don't believe anyone's going to get an EOL from it. It's going to be determined a racing incident, and the 78 truck, I do believe, was set to... it looked like the race officials tried to waive the 78 of Michael Johnson, but he's 28th, 17 laps down. So I do believe that would make the 50 of Lance Johnson in at 21st, and there he is. He's going to get his wave around right now. So again, he was another one of those guys that was up inside the top 5 and just was a victim of circumstances, got caught up, and he's going to get back up onto the lead lap and maybe try to pick up those 4 spots, Alan, and get one of those payout positions to try to get something for his efforts tonight. And that's one thing that when it comes down to a race like this, you really need to be able to watch the race and watch the whole thing to know who had a fast truck, because you look at the score sheet when it's all said and done, and some of these guys are not going to be finishing in positions that resemble how strong they have been tonight.
No, not at all. Look at Cleaver up there in the 45 truck. We haven't really talked a whole lot of, other than me mentioning him a few times, but he's really been the quiet one out here tonight, and he's running up there in 8th position and, doing real good for himself.
He's sitting in 8th. We talked about him earlier in the going. He was in 21st. I think when we talked about him, he was 17th, and that was halfway through the race, so he's really stepped it up in this second half and has gotten up here. The field is doubled up. The lights are off on the Ford First Racing Mustang pace car. We may have another restart if they have a caution flag were to fly, maybe in the first lap. It would be cutting it close. It might even be a 1-lap shootout if it comes down to that. When we go back green, 5 laps to go. The 88 of Michael Churchma on row 1. Outside him, the 20 of David Wink. That is your front row. Let's see how they negotiate this restart. Pace car at a turn number 4 and down to the safety of the pit lane. The field is in the hands of the 88 truck waiting. He's on the loud pedal. He's going to take off right away. The green flag flies, and we're back racing at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Trying to make it side by side for second is Don Stevenson in the 47. He can't quite get there, so it's going to be Churchma with sole position of the number 1 spot. Side by side all the way back throughout the pack. Can they keep it clean and green and let these guys up front race it out to the checkered flag? Top 4 now, single file. The 20 of David Wink in the second spot can taste it. He just needs to find the run that he needs to get up to the 88 of Churchma. Good exit off of 4. He's going to make up some time. The gap this time by the start-finish line is 0.09 seconds between the top 2. Can David Wink get it done up front?
You got one truck stuck up back here on the high side, and he's trying to keep it going. Let's see, that's the 15 truck of Dominic Dyball. He found his way in front of Kerry Cleaver there, and he's found his way down on the backside.
The 29 of Dylan Ackart up and over, and this race is over. Michael Churchma is going to be your unofficial winner. He still has about 2.5 circuits until he can get that checkered flag, but the 29 machine got turned. He got loose actually and went up into the 06 machine, and now Michael Churchma is going to receive a EOL penalty for changing the lane before they cross the start-finish line. David Wink is now going to be shown as P1. What a turn of events. That's going to make it 3 of our race leaders in the closing laps to receive black flag penalties for changing lanes before the restart, and is going to receive that black flag. He's staying out in front of the field right now, trying to maybe discuss it with the race officials. I don't think that's going to be to any avail. The 20 of David Wink is slowing down as they let the pace car go along by, and pace car is going to go on. The 20 machine of David Wink is going to make the pass for the win and turn number 2 as he goes around the black flagged 88 machine. And now David Wink in the 20, as long as he can make it around one more circuit in a surprise turn of events. As soon as he heard that caution flag fly, I'm sure his heart sank a little bit into the stomach, because he was there on Churchma, and saving grace comes, and again, he's now your current race leader as we come by under the yellow flag to take the white flag. So a very strange race, and it's going to be capped off with an even stranger pass for the lead under the yellow, as again race leader Michael Churchma going to get a black flag, the same fate that Michael Vandersal and Daniel Lingerfelt had received after running P1 late in the going as well. And Alan, you touched on it there. That's the rule. You can't change lanes before the restart. And it looked like that 88 truck was cutting it close, and the officials deemed that he did it, and they gave him the appropriate penalty for it. And got a sting, though, all the way back to 20th.
Yeah, that's got to hurt real bad. He's had the, obviously, you know, unarguably the fastest truck all night, and it's just kind of a bummer for him. And he, you know, I'm sure he'll put in a protest and try and argue his point, but I don't know if it's going to be to any avail or not.
29 machine is going to receive an EOL for being the cause of the final caution. That was Dylan Ackert, who coming out of 4 pushed up the racetrack and evidently went up and over. Almost looked like he blew over, and brought out the final caution. The white flag is out in the air. The field single file working through 3 and 4, and it's going to be a surprise victory and a well fought one for sure. But David Wink going to receive a saving grace after, again, I'm sure when he saw that yellow flag pop up in his sim, he really felt bad, because he could have had some for the 88. He was there on the back bumper. He just needed to set him up. Then a saving grace comes under the yellow flag, 88 black flag, 20 to P1, and now through the front straightaway and across the line, David Wink going to go to victory lane, and he is your SH&D Trucking 125 champion at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. So when we come back, we're going to talk to the top 2 finishers in tonight's race and recap the wild action that we saw. So David Wink, your winner with the SH&D Trucking Cora 125. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, and don't go anywhere. The post-race show is coming up next.
We are seconds away from the first green flag of the afternoon. This is snow, this is ice. Yes, we got 900 horsepower, as you're going to see at the line. Current reigning class champions. Are you guys ready for history? Now the clock is running. Off the first jump, now the crossover jump. Ricky Johnson of Southern California will move into the finals. Johnny Grease out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. Grease over-rotates just a little through that turn. There's a flag down. Johnson now coming back down to the bottom side of the course. Into the final corner. 0 penalties for Johnson. 1 penalty for Johnny Grease. The Red Bull Frozen Rush goes to the number 48 of Ricky Johnson.
And we are back at the Atlanta Motor Speedway after a strange turn of events coming down to the checkered flag. And Alan Larson is down on the pit lane, and he is caught up with your second place finisher, the driver of the 47 machine, Don Stevenson.
Hey Don, how you doing this evening, sir? Congratulations on second place. But man, and like I said, man, all I can say is wow.
Yeah, that's about what I was thinking. For about about 5 or 10 times there during the last 30 laps, but definitely one of the craziest races I've ever been in.
Yeah, understandably so. What were you thinking there as that was all playing out? What was going? I mean, what possibly could have been going through your mind?
Well, I felt like if I had like a 5 or 10 lap run, I really feel like I could have eventually gotten a run and made a move, you know, for the win and everything. I mean, this Chevy Silverado was one strong truck tonight. It went from the back to the front, back to the back, back to the front, and it was unreal. But just didn't have enough green flag laps there to really be able to work with it and make a move there. But it was still a fun race, and thank everyone with Cora and for LSRTV for announcing the race, and just it was always a fun time racing here on Sunday nights.
Yeah, you definitely had to keep it clean all night long, and you did a wonderful job doing that. Well, who makes it happen for you out there, Don?
Well, I guess first this is going to be old-fashioned, but I got to thank my mom and my dad, especially my dad. He helped me with my internet connection, and because I had some problems with it last week, and it really hampered, you know, me having a good run and everything. But I guess first and foremost, I got to thank them. You know, thank my fiance here for letting me race whenever I want, and you know, and enjoying this and having fun. But other than that, I don't really have any sponsors. And this said, I got to thank my team though, from Breaking Down Designs on iRacing. I was able to get this setup from them, and it was a really strong setup and it's fast from when I unloaded it on earlier in the week, and it was good again today. The qualifying setup wasn't very good, but race setup was strong.
Well, it's only race 2 there, Don. How do you see your season going now? Does this give you a little bit of momentum going into the next few races?
Oh, definitely. I mean, from the beginning of the season, I felt like I can be strong on the 1.5 miles and even the short tracks. We went some, and the restrictor plates are still going to be my weakness, just because I am relatively new with this group, and you know, trying to learn everyone's tendencies and all that. But hopefully throughout the season I can get better with the restrictor plate program, and come the end of the season be a contender, you know, for the championship.
Okay, that's Don Stevenson, the driver of the 47 machine, and I think Evan Pasoko, he's down there with the Gatorade Victory Lane, down there with David Wink.
And that's right, David Wink climbing out of the race car in the number 20 machine, victorious. So first and foremost, congrats.
Thank you very much.
Taking a look, last week you finished 9th, so a first place finish isn't going to hurt you too much in the points. That's going to help out for sure, and a great way to get a win so early in the season. You picked off those guys one by one up front, and when I say that, I guess it means they picked themselves off, because you watched one by one race leaders get taken out from black flags. And walk us through that final restart when the caution flag flew, and you probably felt down right away, and maybe your heart felt in your stomach, and knowing that you couldn't get it done, and next thing you know, it's telling you to pass them on by, and now you're in victory lane.
I'm still kind of shocked about that. Going in that last restart, I only had one thing on my mind, is try to get my teammate to win, Michael, and still kind of shocked about the whole thing. Not how I envisioned the end.
And definitely, and being victorious, the night in general was an interesting one for sure. The wrecks, when they happened, they were big. You qualified in 8th, so we know you had a fast machine. How was the night overall?
It was good. Had to make a few adjustments during some pit stops, but overall, it's a pretty solid car.
And what does this mean when getting it so early on in the season? And then what kind of momentum does it give you moving forward to the next 2 races here in the trucks when we move forward, and next week we go to Charlotte, and then we close it off at Daytona? What kind of momentum?
There's a lot of momentum and a huge morale for me, morale boost.
And definitely, for sure. Well, anybody want to thank, any sponsors, any teammates, who makes it happen and gets that 20 truck to the racetrack?
I want to thank L.R. Kelly for being my sponsor for this season. I want to thank Michael T., Storm Motorsports, and Fast Forward Racing for helping me through this week and give me some advice.
Definitely, sure. Well, congratulations on the victory. We were pretty much as in shock as you were, but you got it done nonetheless, so congrats and good luck next week.
Thank you very much.
Guys, that's going to do it down here from the pit lane. Before we wrap things up, again, Carl Jones and Alan Larson joining me up at the broadcast booth this evening. Carl, what was your take on the evening and then how it all ended?
Well, I'm usually up in the tower. Tonight I was down here with you guys, where I'm glad I was, because I would not want to be up in that tower after all the calls they had to make tonight. It's been a crazy, crazy evening.
And definitely, Alan, what's your take on things?
I think Carl took the words right out of my mouth. I think I'm glad I'm in the broadcast booth tonight instead of the tower, because, oh man, it's going to be a rough one for them trying to sort all this out. But all in all, I believe it was a decent race. I think we have a little bit of work to do to get things back on track, to get these guys to race a little bit smarter. And, you know, I mean, an awful lot of cautions for 125 laps. But, you know, it's racing. We'll go on to next week, and we'll try and do it again. And I think we'll have a good week.
And definitely most of the cautions came from good, hard racing, and an exciting night it was out at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. When it's all said and done, it is David Wink taking home the checkered flag of the SH&D Trucking Cora 125 here. For my broadcast partners, Alan Larson and Carl Jones, for Laura Lawson, the executive producer and working all the cameras tonight, my name is Evan Pasoko. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week at Charlotte.